Khaver. I'm the Youth Employment Manager here at Junior Achievement of South Florida, currently at the home base of it. So some of you I know are going to be participating in our employment program this summer. Others hopefully will be looking for internships and employment opportunities in near future. Today is not about teaching you what to do and how to do. Today, I just want to tell you how just one summer employment opportunity can change your entire life. And I would like to show you that dreams do come true and that you are the CEO of your life. So I grew up in a small town in Ukraine, which is, as you may know, is an economically challenged country. Not only was there not much financially, the success, the sources of the information were also very limited because we didn't have internet in each household. And also, I think I got my computer maybe in senior high school, so pretty late. The only thing there was 3 TV channels and books to read. While watching Hollywood movies early on in life, I realized that life could be better, that the outfits can be prettier, the neighborhoods could be nicer, and then an average person can eat in the restaurant and also can have their own car. By reading my first magazine, which was National Geographic, I realized that geography is not boring at all, and the world is uniquely different and extremely beautiful. So just knowing that there are beautiful countries and better places out there, more successful countries, actually gave me some hope. So in 5th grade, after visiting Moscow, which is the capital of Russia, I decided that I will move to a better country. I will have a better life. I even said goodbye to all my friends. Well, way too early, I was stuck with them for another 10 years. Well, I dreamed about living in a country that takes care of their citizens, and I also dreamed about traveling the world. Well, now I'm here in United States. I live here. I've traveled to 25 countries all over Europe, North America, Mediterranean, India, Middle East, and I'm sure I will continue to grow and I will continue to explore. Well, it all began by the end of the 3rd year of the college when I found out about summer employment program in United States. I researched the program, applied for a visa, I passed the interview in US Embassy, I borrowed some funds to basically to cover some expenses, and then I borrowed $2,000. You know, $2,000 back then was an average annual income for people. So finally, I bought my ticket to fly to New York City while barely speaking English and traveling for the first time. Well, here after 25 hours flight, 16 hours in a freezing bus, which is, we still don't have AC in our buses, so I haven't decided yet what is worse, being frozen on a bus or very hot. I finally arrived to my dream at that time, Savannah, Georgia. At first day at my work with very limited English, I had to sell 5 things. Well, things that I probably didn't know the names of. Not sure how I did it then, but I'm still very thankful to all those patient customers that didn't kill me for asking this same question 1,000 times and still not understanding the answer. By the end of the summer, I was actually assisting a store manager with placing orders, working with invoices. I even had an experience of working as a buyer at Surf Expo, which was very interesting. That summer, I worked hard. To be honest, I didn't have a choice. Remember those $2,000 that I borrowed? I learned to show up, work hard, and stay positive, even when it seems like obstacles are coming from everywhere. For instance, the only way to get to work was bicycle. And at that time, believe it or not, I didn't know how to ride one. And then the only language that I needed to get through the summer was English. And I barely spoke one and actually didn't understand American English at a school. usually study British English, and oh boy, I had to deal with the Georgia accent, y'all. And when it was all said and done that summer, I had an opportunity to meet so many incredible people that had a huge influence on me. They helped me to accomplish my goals. I established meaningful and valuable relationships by being sincere, taking initiatives, and connecting to people. That experience helped me to boost my confidence and take on new opportunities. Later on, I got an internship for an entire year with the same company, which led me to full-time employment with them. I was managing 2 out of their 15 stores. One of the most favorite parts of my job was actually recruiting students to participate in the same program with our company. At this role, I was able to assure a smooth transition to a new culture, so I was helping students to pass through the cultural shock, and also I just ensured the successful participation in the employment program. Well, back then, I didn't know the recipe of success, but I felt like failure is not an option. So today, I decided to look up a recipe for success, and I found the TED Talk, one of the most popular TED Talks, 8 Secrets of Success. So according to that TED Talk, first secret is passion. Well, I agree. Passion is important. Well, if you have one, you're lucky. I have many interests. So I had to look for my passion very long. And I realized you look for your passion, you change, then passion change. But it's okay. Just explore. Don't be afraid to get yourself out of your comfort zone. Try different things. And remember, success is a journey, and we have to actually enjoy it. Second one is work. There is no magic here. Just work hard and be disciplined. Sounds strange, but to me, working hard is way easier than finding my way around it and slacking at work. Good. Well, bad news. No magic here as well. You just need to work hard and get good at what you do. And well, you will be able, if you work hard, you get good, and you will definitely achieve your goals. Focus. Keep your focus on the productivity, keep yourself accountable, or find an accountability buddy. Like I have one of my coworkers signed up to be my accountability buddy. So it helps me a lot to set the goals and to keep myself accountable. I'm not gonna hide. Sometimes if something doesn't work, we just need to move on. But let's just make sure we did our best. Fifth secret of success is push. Push yourself to be better and do better. Sometimes it's hard to push ourselves, right? That's why we have mothers, teachers, sometimes supervisors. But as I said, explore, get out of your comfort zone, be adventurous, and opportunities will definitely come your way. Serve. You got to serve the value. Just like Mark Nudelberg told us on Wednesday about social media, feed the feed, but make sure you always add the value. And the secret number 7 was ideas. Have the ideas. It's good if you have ideas. If you don't have them, just try to think outside of the box. Be curious, creative, innovative, and try to solve the problems, not constantly bring them on. And you will make connections with people. Persist. According to that talk, it's not my words, you need to persist to crap. Criticism, rejection, assholes, and pressure. So I think we all need to work hard and don't give up, because success is 90% of attitude and 1% of aptitude. So now I shared my story about how just one summer changed my entire life and how I came here to United States. But I will tell you that following your dreams is important, but actually making smart financial decisions on the way is crucial. So that's why we have our guest today, James Hartridge. James Hartridge, he is a Director of Human Resource Information Systems here at Boca Raton, Bluegreen Vacation here in Boca Raton. And he's going to tell you about how to achieve financial freedom early on in age. So let's invite James. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the box. Hold on a second, I'll stop sharing my screen. Thank you for your attention.
All right, thank you, Anna, for that warm welcome. Like Anna said, my name is James Hartridge. I'm the Director of HRIS at Bluegreen Vacations, based in Boca Raton. Just give me a second to share my screen here. All right, next slide. So I'm the Director of HRS at Bluegreen Vacations. A little educational background on myself is I graduated from Georgia Southern University. That's in Statesboro, Georgia. Not too well known, but it is a little bit outside of Savannah, Georgia. I graduated there with a double major in information systems and human resources. And funny enough, I did get a job straight out of college in HRIS, and I really wasn't looking to be an HRIS or HR. I might not even known what HRIS was fully at the time when I graduated, even though I ended up with a degree in it. So I was very fortunate to get into this field, and it's really led me some really interesting places along the line. Before I came to South Florida to work at Bluegreen, some of the other places I've worked include ADP, McKesson Medical Supply, TMX Finance, and Legacy Logistics. So a lot of different industries, and that's one cool thing about HRIS. It lets me work in all these other industries. I'm not stuck just in one, because pretty much any company that has employees that enjoy getting paid, it turns out they need HRIS. So I've been working in the HRIS field for about 10 years. Just a little more detail about HRIS and kind of my role within it. A lot of people, they aren't really sure. Somebody might ask you, that elevator speech, hey, what do you do? And I'll say, oh, I'm the Director of HRIS. And I think once they hear HR, they just kind of phase the rest of it out, and that's enough of an answer for them. So they say, okay, he works in HR, and that's it. And I'm very proud to say that that is not it. The IS is super important in my life, and that's the information systems. So that's what myself and my team, we really focus on. We're basically like a small IT department within the human resources department. So configuration, maintenance, implementation, and reporting is really key in our field. And these all kind of tie back to problem solving, which I'm going to touch on a little bit later in the presentation. So I think of myself as a problem solver, and everyone on my team, is definitely a problem solver. Some examples of a recent problem we had to solve there in HRS is we just implemented a whole new system, and so that's a soup to nuts HRIS, everything from recruitment, application, payroll, timekeeping, learning. And one big problem that we had is we have resorts all over the United States, and some of them are huge, 1,200 acres plus, in the woods, lakes, mountains, deserts, spas, everything. So we have all these associates, and obviously they need to clock in. Previously, we had a huge footprint of hardware for people to clock in, physical time clocks like you might have seen on TV where people swipe a card or do things like that. And I was actually able to implement a mobile app where they can clock in through the app. It looks at where they are physically through the GPS in their phone to make sure they're not maybe, sitting that line at McDonald's getting a breakfast biscuit when they're trying to clock in. And it allows them to track that time and, get paid correctly kind of where they're working. So a little bit more about me. I think there was, kind of some clickbait on the flyer there on LinkedIn. So I do have quite a few hobbies when I'm not working in the office. Travel obviously is one of them, but then my true passion, is an automotive passion. So whether it be working on classic cars, I do instruction for high performance driving on racetracks. And then I also have dabbled in some wheel-to-wheel racing, sprint races and endurance racing. And, these really tie back to that problem solving that I spoke to before. Here's a picture on the screen. I'm there, I guess, on the right in the green and white car, racing at Roebling Road Raceway in Savannah, Georgia. And, you never know when you really are going to encounter a problem. It could be something like one of the classic cars I worked on. I didn't have to, obviously, but I chose to put an engine and transmission from a 1991 BMW into a 1970 BMW. So it was never meant to go in there. So that was some problems. There could be something at a race where you're trying to find the best line and you need to make a decision on, how you're going to do that. So that's true in life. Your choices that you make, they do have downstream effects. In this picture, I'm at one turn, but to get myself where I was, I started doing that probably 3 or 4 turns before this. So everything kind of has an aspect, and it kind of ties back to some college financial success that I was asked to share with you guys. And I think you guys are all in a pivotal place in your your career and your life, where many of you are kind of wrapping up high school, thinking of what your next steps could be and how you're going to accomplish those next steps. For some of you, that could be higher education. Some of you could be a technical certificate. Some of you could be a career. I think we all know, kind of in the back of our heads, what direction we want to go. We might have a few question marks on how we're going to get there. What resources we're going to have available to us, where this is going to take us. And, hopefully after hearing my story, you guys will have maybe some confidence that you can do it. I will give you, a secret. I don't have the magic potion for, being able to accomplish everything you want in your life, but they are very simple things that I've done. I think Anna did a great job of kind of touching on some of them in her story too, because they are universal, no matter what your dream is, whether it's higher education, whether it's, driving a race car, whether it's moving to the United States, whether it's traveling the world, some simple things and some simple problem solving can definitely help you get to where you want to be. So, like I said, I don't have a secret potion, but I'm just going to kind of go through, my early career financial story that started with when I was a senior in high school, trying to figure out how I was going to accomplish, gaining higher education. So, here's me senior year. I had those college, aspirations, but I didn't have a college fund available to me. Fortunately, I wasn't a star athlete, so I didn't have that going for me. I wasn't class valedictorian, and I wasn't the president of the chess club or the debate team. So needless to say, even though I had a very good GPA and I scored relatively well on my SATs and ACTs, I just didn't have colleges fighting over me with full ride scholarships to beautiful campuses. So what was I going to do? I really had to identify the problem, which is always the first step. So identifying your problem right here. My problem was I wanted to obtain higher education, but I didn't have the resources necessary. So step one, identify my problem. The second step in any kind of problem solving is going to be, brainstorming potential solutions and then picking a solution. So my solutions I had here, potentially enlist in the military and take advantage of some of their financial programs. I could forego college, start a career that didn't require a college degree or technical certificate. I could do nothing. This kind of the time I was working at a gas station, so I'm sure they would love to have me continuing there. And that was when you had full service gas stations too. So, I could do that. They didn't have Instagram influencers yet, so a rock star was definitely an option I had going. I think I have pretty nice hair, but I don't know if I have the look for a rock star, so didn't go down that path. And then the final path that I actually chose that really led me to, setting myself up was to, leverage federal, state, and private funding options through scholarships. So, I was able to, without any trust funds, college savings, I was able to use these things that are available. I just need to take research to, really fund my entire college career. So I'm going to break some of those down in this next slide. The first one, now I think was the most important in my journey, at least, was the federal aid. I'm sure you guys, if you're in your end of high school, have been taught, you've heard about the FAFSA form, filling all that out. It's super important. And the Pell Grant, really was the foundation for, my financial package and, anybody else's. It's a really, it's not required to be repaid. If tuition and stuff is already covered through other forms, it can be refunded to you in the form of a check. I know personally, every semester I got a check that I was able to use for my rent, food, things like that, books. So super helpful. A second one that was big for me was that state aid. As I said, I did go to college in Georgia, and they had a state-sponsored scholarship program called the Hope Scholarship. I did a little bit of research, and I did see that Florida has some, competitive scholarship programs also that are very similar. And the requirements aren't too bad. You have to have a decent GPA, you have to go to class, which I did see some people have troubles with that. And, you do have to go to school in state. That kind of put a kibosh on my plans of moving to California, but hey, what are you going to do? I think it all worked out in the end. A third option that I was able to leverage are some, kind of privately sponsored scholarships, whether this be from a professional organization, local nonprofit, charities. There's a lot of smaller scholarships out there, and they do add up. They might require a little bit of extra work. You generally have to apply to all of them separately, but it is worth it on the end because it's free money. The last one, and this seems to be one that maybe gets overlooked a lot, but that's just good old-fashioned work. Summer employment through college, full-time, and then maybe some part-time while you're in school. You just can't beat it, and you learn a lot of good things that maybe people don't get exposed to, if they're just strictly in school. So with these 4 items, I personally was able to graduate from a 4-year degree with 0 debt. I didn't have to take out any loans. So, I was not one of the 44 million Americans that are currently paying off the debt. Last I looked, I think there's about $1.5 trillion of student debt. So I was able to avoid all that. And, the average payment for my research is about $400 a month. So having that, it's allowed me to, do some of those wonderful hobbies you saw earlier in my presentation. So definitely something to, think about. And then all those things, they are great by themselves, but what they really tie back to are some of those personal finance, lessons that I was looking through the JA of South Florida curriculum. And, 4 of them, even before I started putting this presentation together, 4 of them really resonated with me, not only back then, and maybe I didn't have quite as sharp skills back then on them, but I was at least cognizant of them, but I've definitely used them today. So these 4 ones really stuck out to me, and I just wanted to put them out there and just keep them in the forefront, and having them just plain and basic like this, really brings it back to how simple these things really are. So the first one I saw in the curriculum was that planning. Planning will really pay off. There's always late fees and penalties, but if you have an apartment and your rent's due on the 1st of every month, you can plan on it. That's going to be one of your fixed costs that is going to be there every single month. Second one is the savings, especially as maybe if you're wrapping up high school, you're working an after-school job right now, planning with your savings is really great, and just knowing what's going to come up there or not knowing what's going to come up. This current climate with the worldwide pandemic is a great example. No one could have predicted this, but luckily, we have savings that we can use for situations such as this. The next one's going to be your budgeting. I try to budget. Sometimes, we all break our budget. Some of it comes down to something as simple as just what we're going to eat. I think we'd all like to maybe go out to eat every day, maybe go to Red Lobster. Those cheddar biscuits are so delicious, and they are worth splurging on every once in a while. But, we've all kind of seen here recently that there is food at home, and, we can save some there. And the last one is one that I actually enjoy, I think, out of all these, planning and saving and budgeting. I don't know, those aren't too fun last time I checked, but being savvy and shopping around, those definitely definitely can pay dividends when you're on a fixed income if you're receiving federal grants and scholarships during college. A couple examples that I remember served me well. One of the biggest expenses we all do read about in college is going to be your books. And nowadays, a lot of it is, I think it has changed a little bit. Some of it's more digital content, but I know being able to shop around for your materials definitely helped me out. Parking on campus was always something that was an unforeseen cost that you don't really think about, but they're pretty proud of those parking spaces. So thinking of some other ways to get some free parking or cheaper rate parking, those add up. If you're saving $100 a semester, those add up really quickly. So this was kind of looking at my plan and implementing my solution, through this financial, personal finance. Next, I just kind of want to go over the problem solving process that we kind of talked about a little bit during this financials. Like I said, I can kind of tie everything back to problem solving. So we started off with me defining the problem, which was I didn't have the funds available to myself to attend higher education. I brainstormed some great solutions, I think. Only one of them was really let me obtain my goal. So I did pick that solution. I implemented the solution, and at the end, I did review the results. After I graduated, I have taken some Six Sigma training, and it does really tie back to these fundamentals. It adds in a little bit more kind of about breaking down the problem and really the root cause, but it really does tie back to these basic problem solving processes. And like I said, I can use them in everyday life, whether it be traveling. Maybe you arrive in a foreign city and you have to navigate through the city center and you don't speak the language, or anything. So you can really just kind of break it down and figure it out from there. The next one, I do want to take a little step and tell a story. That's maybe some poor financial planning that one of my roommates kind of fell into a trap from. So I got this nice story. So I did have this as college degree versus the Mustang GT. I felt that rhymed a little bit too much for me, so we stuck with just the Mustang. When I was in college, I did have a roommate, and as we often do. So we were in relatively similar financial situations. We were splitting the rent in a pretty nice apartment, I thought, and receiving the Hope Scholarship, some federal grants, and all those things. Neither of us, came from a bunch of money or had anything like that. So I remember one day I came back, and at the time, I had my Jeep, and there was this bright blue Mustang convertible parked in front of the apartment, and you kind of get used to the same cars where you are. So I walk in there, and he has a big grin on his face, and turns out he purchased it. So I was like, oh wow, that's great. And in his room, also at the same time, he had a new plasma TV. So that kind of dates the story a little bit. It was a plasma before LED and LCD. And then there was also a brand new Xbox 360 with the separate HD DVD player, which is a dead technology now. So he'd gotten some student loans and decided when he went home for the weekend to purchase all these items and, just enjoy that student loan money. I don't think that really is great budgeting, not being very savvy either, but that was his choice. I would have been a little happier with the outcome of the story if I'd gotten to drive the car a little bit, but he unfortunately did not let me drive it. So we kind of fell off in touch after we moved out of the apartment, but last I did hear that there was he ended up withdrawing from school with this debt and the car, which sprung a leak in the soft top, so it was sold for wholesale. And now, as far as my research this morning, I did see the Xbox 360s are worth about $12 at GameStop today. So all in all, it doesn't sound like really good financial planning when those dollars could have been better invested in, his education and his college degree, which, is a little better. So right side of that story is, I guess I have a Porsche now, and, I'm not sure what he's doing. So it's just a little humor at the end, but kind of at the end of this, I know it's good to hear a story and have a little bit of a laugh and go over some basic principles that helped me. Anna did express to me this was a Finance Friday, and while I'm not a financial wizard, I do pride myself on making smart choices, and I'm very fortunate to have made those smart choices when I was in college. A few years after my graduation, I was, having a good career. I was able to purchase my first home. And, that's just led me down a path of more and more success throughout my career. So making it early on, not getting burdened with, too much debt or, not really intelligent debt, really helps you out down the road. And then, just looking for those resources that are available. I mean, if there are federal grants and scholarships available, they're there for you to use. It's not a trick. It's not a trap. Go for it. Do some research, use the time, especially when we maybe have a little more time on our hands when we're not going anywhere. This is a great time to really research some of those things. Like I said, without having that debt, I was able to relocate multiple times to pursue my career and live in some really interesting places. South Florida is the most recent interesting place I've gotten to live because of not having those kind of things holding me back. Travel, motorsports, all those things that I don't know if I'd be able to accomplish if I had, some debt or some other things like that. Circling back on kind of what I touched on in the beginning of the presentation, nothing here is a secret. This is all widely available. These are all simple things that I think you guys can do. You guys can put into action to help you guys achieve your goals, whether that be higher education, technical training, even traveling, halfway across the world for a new career. You guys can definitely do it. I didn't have anything secret or special that I was able to do to accomplish these things. And so I know you guys can too. With that being said, I really do appreciate you guys taking the time today on this Friday to listen to my story. And, I do really wish you guys the best of luck in writing your own. As Anna said, if there's any questions that have to do with maybe HRIS, financial planning, Anna's amazing journey around the world, it might be a little more exciting than mine. At least I knew the language. Feel free to put them in the chat or maybe unmute yourselves and, put them out there. And I think we'd be happy to answer anything. So thank you guys.
All right, thank you, James. Thank you everyone for your attention. If anybody has a question, please don't hesitate to ask it, or you can put it in a chat box, unmute yourself. We are here to answer all your questions. If you need some drop of inspiration, you can also unmute yourself. Anything you need, please. And I'm sure that with some of you, I will be working this summer on Summer Youth Employment Program, and I'm very excited to meet you in person. And I'm very happy that you were able to attend this Friday and to listen to our stories. So please, unmute yourself or ask the question. All right. Any questions, guys?
I think everybody's ready to get out on this beautiful day and enjoy their Friday.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Okay. Anna, one came in. Can you provide some
Well, of course I can. Can you provide, the question is, can you provide some ways that students can identify internship opportunities? Well, just like we were talking about, internship opportunities are not the secrets. They are out there. You just ask the Google, he always tell us, not always the truth, but you can ask Junior Achievement of South Florida. We work on placing students in the right places and finding the best fit for organizations and students. There are lots of different ways, like internship opportunities abroad. If you study in the United States, you can go to Spain, Italy, and any other countries to take different internships. And I know many friends of mine right now here in the United States, they've been all over Europe just because they took that opportunity. And there's always a designated person in college, in your university, that will be able to explain you what are your next steps. But usually I've heard it either from my teammates, from my friends who participated, or I Googled it. Even though I got introduced to internet pretty late in life, I still learned how to use Google very fast and very quickly. So I use it for everything. And actually, speaking of Google, right now research says that most of our questions are how to, what to, if I can to. So basically we speak to Google like we speak to our best friend and speak to him. He's gonna find you a right information. Don't forget to use things like near me, internships near me, you will find it. And also we spoke about LinkedIn recently. If you remember, there is a way how to find your job opportunities on LinkedIn, but you also can choose as an option internship. You can find an internship opportunity on LinkedIn as well. And also there's always career fairs as well as right now virtual career fairs. So you can get out there, Google virtual career fair near me, get online and talk to the hiring managers and just ask them. Maybe during the college you will be able to join their program. I hope I answered the question. Is there any more questions?
Yeah, I saw one about resumes. So we're going to be sending you guys an email,
Absolutely.
but the deadline is going to be pushed to the end of the month. So if you're interested, send your resumes. We'll edit them and then we'll send them back to you. But make sure to get them in like ASAP, you guys.
Yes, I do recommend to hurry up and be diligent with your deadlines and submit them. But of course, especially thank you for asking right now. If you right now ask if you can still submit, yes, sure, please submit your resume. I encourage you to do so. And we have another amazing question is, did you know what you wanted to do as a high school senior? As many students are still exploring careers. So I will answer that question and I will probably ask James to answer that question as well, because I did not know. I had no clue. Because like in high school, I told you resources were limited. You know, I had to choose my career from a huge book of different careers, different colleges, what they had available. So I chose hospitality management, tourism and hospitality management. Well, that's a very nice career. I had to change it a couple times, but at that time for me it was so innovative. I was living in Crimea, which is on the coast of the Black Sea, beautiful place. I thought tourism, management, hospitality sounds incredible, tied up with my traveling dream. Since I had no knowledge about what exactly this career about, I chose it and I thought it's like the best career ever. It's good. Any experience is good. Never think that you worked and then you didn't like it, you had to leave and it's something bad you did. No, exploring is perfect. And what you're doing right now within a career-bound program is excellent. I wish I had that opportunity. I wish I could see what are those careers about, because not all of us know what exactly means to be HRIS. HRIS, to me, I would never guess what is that, but it's human resource information systems. Still have no clue what could it be. And now we have James who told us what is exactly there. I had to change my career path 3 times, and I'm very proud that I did that, because every experience is valuable. Every experience carves you as a person. And then let's see if James had any idea of what he's going to be in high school.
In high school, I didn't really know. I kind of was leaning towards a business degree, just because that kind of fits my personality, and I felt like that opened the most amount of doors for me down the road. So I was lucky enough with the way most business programs are structured with the BBA or Bachelor's in Business Administration. They kind of let you do your core classes, and you can really go through maybe your first year through 2 years with doing those core classes. Then you can kind of pick what your emphasis you want to be. So there was all kinds of different choices where I was, like human resources, economics, finance, all those different options. So you can really get a taste of it first without committing. So if you seem to be business inclined, you can definitely go down that road where you kind of leave it open for a while, and then you can kind of make your pick down the road.
We have another question, very specific. I will let James to find an answer for it.
Is this regarding the school I'm thinking about is Palm Beach Atlantic University with a tuition around $40,000 to $50,000 a year. What would you suggest I do? If there's scholarship opportunities, seems harder nowadays, and FAFSA can only give you so much. That is true. And, one of the challenges when you're looking at a, problem such as that, you might have to look at different schools. For me, going to Georgia Southern University, it might not, even in the state of Georgia, it might not be, as big a name, say as University of Georgia or, Georgia Tech or things of that nature. But, it really fit my needs. I wanted to get that business degree, has a highly accredited program, and it fit my financial needs too. So, what I would do personally is just maybe look at what you like about Palm Beach Atlantic and see if it's a particular program, if it's the campus, the amenities, pick those things that you like, identify, what are your must-haves, and maybe see if there's some other options in other schools that might kind of have a, lower cost, and then, go from there. If not, maybe work with the financial assistance office there and see what things maybe other students have done to kind of meet their tuition needs. It doesn't hurt to ask. There's people that are working in those financial aid offices, and that is, what they do all day, and they're experts in that field. So get as much information as you can, see what's out there, and keep asking questions. So.
And thank you for your questions, guys. Very good questions. Any other questions? If we don't have any more questions, we might call it a day.
If you guys haven't signed in, oh, there's one. You guys both can answer this one.
Oh, interesting question. I will let James answer first because I need to think about it.
Oh, thank you for putting me on the spot there. My favorite Disney character? I'll just go with Aladdin. He's got it all. He's got the girl, he's got the magic carpet, he's got great friends. He lives in paradise. We'll go with Aladdin.
Well, I can tell you that when I saw Lion King, that cartoon, I was stuck at the TV, like playing it over and over, maybe for a week, and crying more every day. I just loved it. I'm not going to tell you who was my favorite character there. I just loved the whole cartoon. And I think if I see it again, I will cry and I will remember how it was special for me. Because it was very unique to see those beautiful Disney movies back then. For us, from a post-Soviet Union country, having a Disney cartoon, a Disney movie was already a magic, or was already a miracle. So they are all my favorites, but I really remember The Lion King.
Okay, thank you guys. Anybody else, any last questions? If you haven't signed in, also please sign in right now through the chat, first name, last name, and the JA program that you're in.
Well, thank you, everyone. What are your favorite colors?
The last one, yeah.
My favorite color is red for dressing up and turquoise for a casual summer day. And I believe those are beautiful colors. And usually I look for the colors that represented in nature. And here I have a beautiful flower from my garden, not that beautiful anymore, so, but all the flowers and colors are beautiful. So, all right, thank you for signing in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for attending. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you next Monday.
Yes, Monday
right?
We're gonna have like a more business kind of related talk. We're gonna have two entrepreneurs, Dawn Woodruff and Jamal May, 2 p.m. We'll send you guys the email again with more information. And yes, keep signing in, please. Thank you guys. Have a good weekend.
Right. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Bye.